Hello, hello, hello. I am 1 minute early, so I'm gonna go ahead and kickstart while I wait for people to come on and join by saying, as I said in the thumbnail there, if you saw it, I am building live today from my RV, and so I'm super, super excited to see each of you. We are currently in the Adirondacks and making our way up to Acadia. So, and I will say, if you joined last week's live or you happen to see it, you're going to notice that my internet may still be a little bit spotty, just given we still have not received our new Starlink. It's meeting us up in Acadia. So, all right, it is 12 o'clock on the dot, and I am excited to get started with you today because we are here to help you build the business that doesn't keep you tied to your computer, that you can actually run from anywhere, that gives you the freedom to operate without having to be in all of the things. So, the one thing that's been coming up a lot for me lately with clients I've talked to and people I've been working with is that they have a need to be out in the field and out in the world. And the thing that they don't want is to have to be tied to their computer. But what they do need access to is answers around what's happening with some of their customers or their clients, answers around different parts of their business. They need access to, strategic plans that they have for the business. And what they don't want to do is to have to go digging around in outdated Google Docs, in 100 different spreadsheets, and they don't want to have to ping someone in Slack and then wait for them to be accessible and actually reply. They don't want to have to actually send out a bunch of emails and again wait for responses to come back to them. And they certainly don't want to be in front of their computer when they actually have to draft out those emails and those Slacks to go out. What if I told you that it is entirely possible to actually run your business from the one tool that you have constant access to at all times, and that is your phone? What if I told you you could actually get answers? You could actually ask your business questions and get answers in real time. What if I told you you could actually send out those messages from your phone without having to lift a finger or type on any of your keyboards? And what if I told you that for your team, they could do the same and they could have a place to go, their AI platform of choice, and ask it key questions without having to actually ping you? Yes, all of this is actually entirely possible by building out your single source of truth on the back end. My preferred platform is Notion. It doesn't have to be in Notion, but I do find that it is the easiest one to maintain, update, and access your other tools from. And it actually connects into any AI platform that you choose and like to use. All of my clients have different preferences. Some like Claude, some like ChatGPT. Occasionally, I get a weird one that likes Grok. You can do this with any of the platforms that you actually prefer to work in. And some of my clients, and myself included, choose to operate within multiple platforms. Now, the way that we set this up is also going to enable you to set up better agents and not have you build out quite so many. And it's going to actually give your team access to resources to have them stop pinging you with questions so that they know what to do and when to do it. And it's going to actually enable you to give them that shared context much more easily. So today, what I wanted to do is actually help you see how and talk you through how I actually build this out with each of my clients. And I wanted to do that in relation to the second business I'm actually building that's more closely related to our travels. So if you've ever had questions around, or if you have any interest, I do have a second channel that I am currently building out, and I have a second business called The Roaming Entrepreneur that is more focused on, I would say, our travel. I wouldn't say our travels per se. I would say our RV life as a whole and some of the things that we've seen and learned along the way and along our journey. But it's not a travel channel. I feel like there's more than enough of those out there. So at Veriscale, this channel is strictly related to how to build the business that gets you out of the middle of everything. And that channel is more related to some of our personal and shared learnings that we've found while we've been on this journey. So What if you, again, could ask your business a question? Say you have a client, you just had a call, and if you're like me, you need to go out for a walk afterwards. You just need to take a break and get out for a few minutes. And you actually need to process some of what happened on that call and download some key information. What if you could just take your phone with you? You could push Claude, push the button for ChatGPT, and you could just simply say, "Hey, I just had a call with Joe and we had a great strategy session. We worked on all of the strategic developments that he wants to pursue, the initiatives he wants to pursue for 2027. I had some key thoughts around items 1, 2, and 3. Really need to get those documented into a resource. And we need to build out a dashboard related to all of the things that he mentioned that he wants to achieve in 2027 so that we can start to measure and communicate with his team exactly all the things that are happening. So here are my thoughts." And you could give it a quick download of all the thoughts that you're having. And then you just tell it, "Hey, go ahead and build out this dashboard. And by the way, if you could pull in Sally and have her help out with this, go ahead and draft out a Slack and send her that Slack that says, hey, I've got this dashboard completely built out for Joe following our conversation. Here's the key bullet pointed items that came up." And all of that could just be done while you're out and you're taking a walk and you're getting all of that context out of your brain. Or say you're like some of my blue collar kind of clients and you're out on a job and your F450 decides that it wants to make a funny noise. Plus, you need to know and remember some key information about a conversation that you had with them 6 months ago before they signed the contract and actually move forward. What if you could just go into Contact GPT and say, or ChatGPT, and just say, "Hey, look, the F450 is making this weird noise and this light is on. Could you pull up the owner's manual and tell me exactly what it says that I should be looking at? And by the way, we're at site, 111 Rolling Lane over here in New Bern, North Carolina, and I need to know exactly how much I quoted him on the installation of this certain product and how much yardage and dirt did we use, last year this time when we did the same type of work at such and such address." And then what if your device could just spit that information out to you? Like, how useful would that be to not have to wait to go back to your desk and actually get access to that key information? What if you could just have it on site by having a conversation with your phone, essentially? All of that is extremely possible when you go in and you intentionally set up your single source of truth. And it doesn't have to be taxing or labor intensive to you to actually maintain it on the back end. That's what your AI tools are for. That's where you can set up some key agents to actually pull all of the information. I will tell you, for me, on Fridays, the savings that I have realized after doing this and setting this up with my own business. I can do most of it while I am taking a walk. And what used to take me more than half a day now takes me about an hour to close out all of my clients for the week, update all of our tasks in the project management software that we use. Asana, you guys probably know I love Asana. Create new tasks for the following week where they need to be, assign it out to the team, and it goes ahead and drafts out key slacks and emails that I can send out at a later time after reviewing, or I can send out right away if I feel comfortable in doing that. Again, that used to take me more than half a day to do and is now down to about an hour, and I can do it while I'm completely mobile. Say, like this weekend, we drive from here in Lake George, New York, up to Moody Beach in Acadia. I believe that's where we're going this weekend. So, um, again, I want you to have access to exactly how to do this and how to start to set yours up so that you can have the capability to do your work from anywhere. So, what needs to exist first in order to actually make this happen and have it be effective for you? The number one thing that I see with most of my clients is they're not really clear in where they're going. They don't know what I call your $1 million plus destinations, and they're not clear in the initiatives that they need to pursue or want to pursue for the next key period, whether that's a quarter or a year. So the things that you have to be clear in first. What is the vision for what it is that you're creating? What does that look like in the grand scheme of things? My guess is some of you have a vision and mission statement somewhere. I think the context of a vision and mission statement is a bit outdated. Um, but it's useful to sit down and try and draft it out. So, what's the big picture vision for what it is that you're building? What is your ideal role in all of that? What do you want your CEO role to look like? Look, all of us have work that we love and that we hate to do. So, what does your ideal CEO role look like? What are the tasks and the things that you have to do that drain you? And then what are the ones that you truly, truly love and don't actually want to turn over? It is okay for your CEO role not to look like a typical CEO. I love to play around with AI tools. I'm not going to turn that over to anyone on my team, although I love it when they bring me ideas and we get to vet them out together. Um, I would say your ideal client experience or customer experience. What does that look like? What is the turnaround time on a proposal? What are you trying? What is the experience that you're trying to create for your clients? What does a client journey or the customer journey actually look like end to end from that very first touch point all the way until maybe they outgrow the services that you provide them, or maybe they sell that house and they don't need your services anymore because they've moved into an RV and they're traveling around the country. But what is the overall client experience that you're trying to create, and how do you track and know what good performance looks like by any team members that are performing those services? And then what are your key metrics? Look, you've got to eat to live. So you've got to get clear in what you need and want your take home pay to be. What are your margins, both gross and net, retention and churn, client or customer LTV, and revenue. Revenue is important. Just don't make it the only thing that you're focused on. So, what are the key metrics that you want to achieve in the next year? And I would say, as a whole, until you're ready to sell your business, or maybe you're ready to retire, or maybe you're just like, hey, let's just focus on 3 years. Totally fine. But you do have to get clear in all of these things. What are your offers? How are you serving your clients? What sets you apart in the marketplace? You've got to get crystal clear in all of that. And you can use your AI tools of choice to actually talk through it and help it to actually make the document for you. If you want, posted almost everywhere that I have, you can actually take a snapshot of my $1 million plus destinations and let your AI tool know, hey, let's just talk through this and actually figure out what it is that I'm actually building over here. And then use the document that it outputs, load it back in, or just connect your Notion platform to it and have it build it out. But before you can do anything, you've got to get crystal clear in that. If you've got team members, you need to get clear in their roles and how you're measuring their performance as a whole. If you don't know, then please go back and watch some of my videos on here around how to determine what metrics can help measure performance, and then also write out their role description in a really clear way that so that they understand exactly what it is that they do. I've got plenty of videos on here about that and about how to delegate. So go ahead. Some other things that you do need to think about gaining clarity on. If you don't have a project management system, I do think that that's highly important. You can do project management within Notion, but I think it takes too much to keep it up to date. So I like keeping that in Asana just for the ease and intuitive nature of how to operate. SOPs, any SOPs that you have, if you don't have an SOP, start to make a list of the things that you need to document and the decisions that you need to make around it, the standards that you want to identify. I like to use the opportunity for creating those standards as a way to remove any expectations on either side of the fence around how things are going to be done. Expectations Misalignment around expectations is the number one cause of frustration in your employees and churn in your clients. So we want to take the time to actually document and lay out our standards of performance, our standards of certain tasks that we're operating, and make sure that everyone is clear in it. So um, I couldn't get my tools to connect today to actually share my screen. So I'm going to talk you through my Notion setup. First off, Notion is free. Like, you can go and sign up for it and it is completely free for a period of time. I think it's 100 pages. When you hit 100 pages, then you're going to have to get the paid version. But guys, it's like $20 a month per user. And the exponential increase in overall productivity is definitely worth the software cost. So you need to put on your CEO hat, and think about the ROI on the return rather than the actual recurring software cost that you're going to incur to set this up. So go ahead and get Notion and just rename it as your business and your headquarters. And that way, this is the place and the resources where everything actually lives. Once you have gone and created some clarity around your $1 million plus destinations, I want you to just simply tell your AI tool of choice. First, you need to connect them in and then tell your AI tool of choice exactly what it is that you want to do. Actually, I can share my screen. Hold on. Um, oh, let's get them to sharing. Hold on. Okay, hopefully you are seeing my screen. I see a million of my faces. So I'm going to move this over here. And so hopefully you can see this. Back over here. All right. Um, So this is my headquarters right now for Veriscale. And as you can see, it's set up. We've got our own vision, outcomes, priorities, team agendas, current offers, and team and tech. You've got client and client experience, team and team experience. All of these pages have sub pages within them. I know that sounds complicated, but again, your AI tools um, can actually update and edit these. So it makes it really easy. SOPs and client workflows, marketing, and then I do have a sales and lead gen page that's not attached up there. So what I said today was we're going to set up the roaming entrepreneur page. So as you can see, I have done nothing in here as of right now. And so once you get crystal clear in those destinations, it is super easy to actually go in here. Oops. Go back and close this. Um, so we're just going to tell it set up my headquarters page in the same way that it's set up in Veriscale. Just go ahead and set it up for the roaming entrepreneur. And I'm going to show you how to do that. Actually, first, I think I have to go ahead, guys, and you can operate Notion in many different places. And I think I actually have to um, connect it here to the right one. So I do set these up for most of my clients. We just go ahead and work through a lot of things. And so we work through all of their destinations. We do work through, you know, the goals that they have set for the following year. We work through a lot of times I'm there to help with team leadership and developing out their client experience. And so we go ahead and work through a lot of those things. And as we're doing it, I go ahead and set this up for them, which makes it super easy. So let's see. Let's go ahead and attach this in, and then let's tell it. Okay, I want you to go ahead and set up my headquarters page in the exact same way that we have with Veriscale. I want you to map out my $1 million plus destinations in a dashboard and tracker. Make sure that in that top section, you go ahead and map out we want the headquarters page, client experience, team experience. Obviously, the roaming entrepreneur leads more into a media company. So I think that marketing and media are going to need to be two separate pages there, and they need to be a little bit more developed. Um, so go ahead and let's go ahead and get this set up in the Notion single source of truth. And then anything else that you think I need there, you could probably go ahead and set up, and then we'll take time to review it. So it's literally this easy, guys. You just click, and then it will take a few minutes to go ahead and get started. Um, so we'll give it a few minutes. I'm going to stop the screen share while it is going. and give it a few minutes, and then we'll check back in. So the one thing and the one reason I truly, truly love this is it allows you to use the AI platform that you love most. And truthfully, I go back and forth between the two. And a lot of times I actually end up using both as I'm starting to develop things out. So I'll take something and I'll use Claude and I'm like, hey, work on these things. I'll take it, I'll plug it into ChatGPT. I think right now in the state we're at, ChatGPT has a little bit more of a humanistic nature to it. Um, but it seems like those two kind of like level up and then they encourage the other one and so they kind of go back and forth on who's performing the best at any key point. So I'll take stuff from Claude, I'll plug it into ChatGPT and I'll go back and forth until I get it the way that I like it. um, but you can use your AI platform of choice for the voice notes. You can operate it in the chat mode where you're actually having a real life conversation with it. And I like to often call it an AI integrator for my clients where they can have key conversations and then make updates to all of their backend systems and software. The reason that I really started to develop this out is that historically in the past, a lot of the experiences that I've had is that the team comes to the founder to ask them key questions. And anytime that I get a new client, the Slack messages are just insane. Like they're just flying around, especially if they're anywhere near the 5 to 10 people on the team range. The other thing that I was finding is that a lot of the founders I worked with, either they were blue collar or they were super busy and needed to be out of out with on sales calls, or they had photo shoots and podcast shoots and other things, and they couldn't be in front of their computer all the time. But they did need to have access to information. They needed to have access and the capability to assign out key work to their team. And so as I started to sit in more and more of this, I was like, hey, foundationally on the back end throughout the test, throughout time, the one thing that I've realized with founders as I've worked with them over the last 15 or 20 years is that all of the super successful ones had access to resources. They had a database built in some way, shape, or form. Sometimes they used Atlassian in the past. They had some wiki pages. They've used for sure Google Docs or even Word docs back in the day. But now we have access to different AI tools to help us actually build this. And Notion has been built in this way, been built in almost a wiki page format that allows us to set up the information and keep it maintained and updated super, super easily. And by doing it and just getting everything out of your brain by putting it in a place where the team always knows to go to have access to it, by enabling them to use their AI tools of choice to ask key questions and get access to information, it eliminates you having to be the hub. You guys know I love my wheel and spoke model. So when you're at the center of the wheel with all the spokes going off, when you get removed, momentum stops. Now, when you put your single source of truth in the center, it's never taken out. And in fact, it's updated probably more regularly than your team. And so they always have access and momentum can actually gain. All right, let's check in on how Claude is doing over there. Hold on just a second. Oh, I'm getting some questions. So let's go. Let's go here. All right, so it's asking me some questions here. Oh, I disconnected the Veriscale pages, so it may ask me to go back and take a picture of it. Let's see what happens. Should be the workspace that's connected. So we might have to go back in and check it. Gotta love technology when you're live. Mm. All right. We'll give it a few more minutes and then see how things are going. I talk a little bit about how I make use of mine, um, how I make use of mine on a regular basis. Let me stop my screen share there. Um, I frequently use mine. Actually, I use it in my Fridays to, really talk through everything that's happened. I have it go and review all of my calls, all of my call notes. I have it go back and review all of the calendar information. I have it review Asana. I have it review all of my emails. I have it review all of the conversations that happened with my team. And then I have it share that context with me. And I just download everything that is in my brain around what has happened. Now, frequently throughout the week, in fact, I did it today. I was like, hey, let's go ahead and do a midweek check in and just downloaded a bunch of stuff there. And then I do it again at the end of the week. And then on Mondays, I can just go in and say, all right, what are my priorities for this week? What are we focused on? And it just lays it all out. I also have it create and update all of my agendas and then draft emails to send out to all my clients outlining those agendas. They all have access to their agenda pages so they can see and update that information in real time as they need it. But I have it do that as well so that on Fridays, all of that stuff is taken care of. I don't have to worry about any of it going into the new week. Some of the other areas of the business that I have built out and that you can as well. If you're doing a lot of marketing and content, you can actually build out. I have a VP of marketing and a content manager agent built out. And so when we're able to outline the full strategy within Notion and update all of the information related to my newsletter, the CEO shift, it can pull all of that context out. So I just go and give the content manager its prompt and it actually builds everything. It's got Canva links all nicely nestled in there. And so it just goes and builds everything and gets everything ready to push out. And then that's all sent over to my VA so that she can get everything ready to post in Go High Level. It also lets me know the hottest leads that I need to go reach out to. And if I happen to be doing like cold outbound DMs, it will remind me of any replies that I need to actually have access to. So it really is the place that we have access to all of the information that we need. And like I said, I really like to work when we're driving, especially if my kids decide that they want to ride with my husband. It gives me, usually 3 to 4 hours to kind of think and do while I'm in the car in mobile. And so having this built out gives me that capability to be able to operate while my brain usually starts to turn, which is really useful. And then B, also, while, there's a lot of downtime, so I can reserve my non-downtime for things like amazing hikes in the Adirondacks, which we just did earlier this week. So, all right, I'm gonna check back in. That is not the one. Ah, beautiful. Okay, let's go back and take a look at this, guys. Share my screen again. And then I'm going to all right, so everything is built and linked, and it is here. Got 4 subpages already built. So, had a couple of hiccups going on in there, but close this one down. Boom. It is all said and done. So this one is built here. It's not exactly the way I would love it, so I'll probably have it make some edits in the future, but good enough for the first try. So, and then for those edits, I'll just go in and actually voice chat with Claude over what I'm seeing and how I actually want it to look. But like I said, it is good enough for now and has enough key information that we can start to make use of it. And honestly, my next task will probably be to build out the content manager and the VP of marketing for it, so that we can make sure that that gets handled without a ton of lift from me. So, what I want you to hear in the first place is also don't overbuild this to start. You don't need a million different pages to begin with. Identify the top priorities and just start to work on those. You're probably going to find some areas where you can pull in all 97 Google documents that you have them consolidated, make some key changes, and then get it uploaded and built out as you want. I do recommend taking a hard look at the architecture before you get started. I think it's super important to have that architecture be super clean. And then, as I said, and as you guys know already, if you're following any of my content, I believe in key metrics trackers. And so I usually place those front and center at the top of every page. If my team members have metrics that are helping to define what good looks like in their performance, those are always placed at the top with the contextual information listed below. So make sure those get put in there. I know for a lot of my blue collar people, we're doing a lot of project costing within their systems, and that all of that ties up into one key dashboard in the beginning. For some of my other clients, calendars are super important. You can absolutely put a calendar in there, and it gives your team easy access to the calendar as it relates to particular offers, the marketing, business as a whole, and that can be super, super useful as well. Guys, if you want to talk through any of this, I am always open for a 30-minute free strategy call to talk through that back end architecture that makes the most sense for your business, and making sure that you're super clear in those $1 million plus destinations, so that everything is actually set up to allow you to work from anywhere, and ensures that you and your team are on track to actually build the business that you want for the future. Um, so I appreciate your time here today, guys, in setting up this first step. Next week, I believe we are going to lean a little bit more into the architecture and how you can start to build out some really useful AI agents to help you and your team be more productive, and how you can do it without being tied to your computer while operating from the road. So, again, I appreciate everyone being here today, and thank you for your time. And I look forward to more live streams in the future.